What's up guys, I'm JacobTSuggs and welcome back to another video. And today is a very special video because I'm joined by my good friend and fellow Frame by Frame Framely member, Jay Hilborn.
Yep, that's me.
Now Jay, last time I saw you, you were dead.
Now, Jacob, which time did I die? Was it when Frame Games died in a metaphysical way, RIP 2017, or was it when I died in the hit short film Mona 2?
Well, you know, you died twice, but I guess you can't kill something that's already dead inside. So that being said,
just like the prophecy said, I came back a third time. In
a black suit and a mullet too, so I mean, hey. And with that terrible mustache, I mean, dude, we're gonna have to shave that.
You can CGI that out.
Yeah, I'm gonna CGI it out. You know, it's just natural. That being said, we just saw The Shape of Water. My movie theater finally got it. And it's perhaps the weirdest and greatest movie I've seen in a long time. So Carson's behind the camera right now, and I kind of, since you have to leave early, figured we could talk about it first. So Jay, since you're the guest, what did you think about The Shape of Water?
I thought that it was a really weird movie.
I agree.
My friend Dalton said that it is much like boiling a frog in a pot of water, in which if you throw it in just while it's boiling, he'll jump right out, or if you gradually bring up the heat, then he'll stay there and die. And that was me with that movie.
I agree with that.
Ramping up the weird.
It was really weird. In fact, it really took me off guard for a couple scenes. But, you know, I think you summed it up actually best, and I quoted this in the tweet when I was talking about the movie. Yeah. I know you just saw it, but you said right after we saw the movie that every character that is supposed to be weird...
Yeah. It's weirder. The character that is supposed to be the most weird is still less weird than every other character.
Yeah, every human character in this movie feels kind of weirder, oddly enough, than the Fishman or the monster. I don't know his name or terminology or anything, but he feels kind of like the most normal thing in the movie, because when you look at the human characters, they all kind of have quirks and stuff that make them stand out. Yeah, like in a big way, not just like little things.
Stand out is a term. It's like
it is a term.
It is like it's like they wrote characters and then they had an actual Fishman come in and write what he thinks those characters would be like in real life, and they put that on screen. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I liked it.
I mean, hey, diversity, man. Get the Fishmen to write the scripts. We need more Fishmen in Hollywood.
You know, that's why they had the writer's strike a couple of years ago. Gotta get more Fishmen. And fish women.
Fish women and the fish children.
Yeah, Jacob, I do want to talk to you. This movie got nominated for a lot of Oscars.
13, I think. Isn't that like the same amount as like Return of the King? It's been nominated for a ton.
And Return of the King had like, what, 3 Fishmen? 3 Fishmen max.
I think so.
3 major Fishmen.
Let me do a calculation in my head. 3.
But that being said, this movie does have a lot of Oscar noms, and I think rightfully so. Everything that it is nominated for, I was kind of looking for in this movie, since it is nominated for that stuff, and which is why my theater got this movie to begin with, because they always get the Best Picture contenders each year. Yeah. So I was automatically just kind of going into the movie expecting those elements to be great, and every one of those elements actually was great, especially the soundtrack, which everybody on Twitter and film websites and stuff have been talking about and discussing. I don't usually listen to soundtracks before I go into the movie because I like to experience it with the movie. Yeah. And this is one case to where I thought the soundtrack was great.
Actually, I like that reoccurring thing they did, the little piano, like kind of Pixar-y type like riff that they had, the da-da-da-da type deal.
Yeah, because it fits with all these different situations that happens on screen.
Yeah, it feels I mean, people like to joke that movies are Disney-fied, but this feels like a kind of Pixar-fied movie that was just made.
It feels like a more adult, like family,
like a more adult Pixar movie.
You know what Del Toro wanted to do with this movie, I feel like, was tell a modern day monster story, because what made the Universal monsters back in the day so iconic, and basically like the Marvel films of their time, what made them so great is that the monsters had a tragedy kind of attached to them and a sense of humanity attached to them, and the real monsters were kind of the antagonists trying to dissect or take apart these monsters and dissect them and move them away from humanity. And it's kind of demonstrated here too. And I feel like Del Toro did a great homage, but also made this movie something that really stands out on its own.
Yeah, I think, and all the actors were great. I think
Sally Hawkins.
Most of the main cast has an Oscar nom on them. The only one I don't 100% agree in is Octavia Spencer, and that's just because She's great. I love
She
Octavia
is great,
Spencer. Yeah. It's just that every character that Octavia Spencer's ever played
is Octavia Spencer.
Is Octavia Spencer. She's typecast as herself.
I thought she was great in the movie, but I do think that I would have kind of agreed. It's kind of like how Melissa McCarthy always plays Melissa McCarthy type characters. It's just kind of you feel obligated to play
it's just
these parts.
It's like they're in the writer's room. They're like, all right, let's write the character Octavia Spencer. Like, who are we gonna get to play her? It's like,
Octavia Spencer.
Octavia. You're a genius.
Why not? I mean,
Bill,
hey.
why don't we give you a raise?
I mean, Bill, you deserve one.
You deserve it, Bill. I've been telling you for years, baby.
Yeah, baby. I also want to talk about the direction of this movie and the directing in general.
Yes, it was directed. That is true.
It was very much directed.
It was a directed film.
Del Toro, who's one of my favorite filmmakers working today, because Del Toro loves monsters and the horror genre, and I feel like much like J.J. Abrams understands like science fiction and
gets
filmmakers like that,
yeah.
He absolutely understands it. We've seen that with Pan's Labyrinth, with Pacific Rim, Crimson Peak. He loves this genre. And I feel like you can really feel the passion in this movie, with almost every frame.
Yeah, I'm just glad we got a movie that's in the Hellboy extended universe. Obviously, the character of Fishman was Abe Sapien.
You know what? What if this is an origin story for Abe Sapien?
And
we didn't even realize. Carson's jaw is open so wide behind the camera.
We're blowing this open. All right, Del Toro.
Well, you've been exposed, boy.
I've been speaking to Benicio. He's telling me what's going on.
Now, I do want to mention something to you, Jay.
Yes.
Something that you said to me in the middle of the movie. You looked at me during a certain scene in this movie.
Yes.
And you leaned over and you whispered directly into my ear.
I know what I said. I said, when am I getting my Dr. Pepper, Jacob?
No. That's not what you said. You said, when are they going to do the fish sex? Is this the scene?
Is this
the sex? I lost all sense of respect for that movie in this moment. Congratulations, Jay. You ruined the movie.
Thinking back on it, I don't know what fish sex is. Any of that movie could have been fish sex, and I didn't know.
What's sex?
What's a scene?
Jay, actually, wait. Before you go, where can we find you online and stuff like that?
If anytime you go to a room and you find a really dark corner that kind of smells like crackers, that's where I am. Or conversely, you can find me on my YouTube channel, the $10 Radio Show. Or if you were
link is down in the description below.
Link is down in the description. Me and my friend Blake, who has also been in Frame by Frame videos, we are loading podcasts with guest hosts from around Florence, just people of interest. We talk about anything and everything, and it's the NSFW podcast that I filmed at work. So you can listen to it now.
It's not safe for work, but you filmed it, or I guess recorded it at work.
Yes, it's not safe for it, but we live on the edge.
Oh, well, I like to live on the edge too. And link to your Twitter. Where can they follow you there?
If you can follow us at $10 Radio Show on Twitter, or you can use the hashtag 10 capital D capital R capital S.
Sweet. Well, all of that's going to be linked in the description down below if you're interested to follow Jay. Also, Jay's been on a few episodes of Frame by Frame in the past, so if you want to see some of those, link will also be down in the description below. Thank you so much for discussing this really weird, awesome movie with me, Jay.
All right, cool. I'm gonna go see Greatest Showman again.
Sweet. Well, yeah, you do that. That movie's awesome. Go check that out. All right, now that Jay's gone, the seat's empty, so it looks like we're gonna need another guest. So introducing
Carson Munn.
Hey! High five. Yeah, that was bad. Okay.
One
more time.
Yeah.
That's better. Fish
Movie.
All right, Carson. Let's have a more in-depth, less jokey conversation about this than previously stated. So, what did you think initially of The Shape of Water?
So, starting the movie, I was actually a bit confused, honestly.
I was too.
And actually, throughout the movie, I got something very different than what I expected. Mm-hmm. I thought the movie was going to be very dark. I thought it was going to be kind of a dark romance film, and it was that at times, but there was more whimsy. It was more whimsy, Yeah. It was like very whimsical.
It's a dark movie. I feel like first and foremost because it is a monster movie. Because I feel like Del Toro is paying homage to that. But I also feel like it is partially a romance too.
Yeah.
It's oddly got moments that are extremely lighthearted and really make you laugh in the middle of the theater and stuff. But when it gets dark, it gets really dark.
Very dark. But that's actually one of the first. That's actually one of the first thoughts I had in the movie was, what genre is this? Because I thought it was going to be like a horror film with a little bit of thriller and romance mixed in. And we had those things. Right. But it was also somewhat of this weird pseudo-period piece.
Right.
At times. And
yeah. I was trying to figure out for the majority of the movie where exactly this took place in history.
Sure.
I kind of settled in on the Cold War. I feel like is kind of maybe where we were at, or maybe a little bit before.
It must have been before, because sometimes it almost had like a 20s and 30s feel to it.
It was more so the Russian stuff that they mentioned in the film that I don't really want to get into, that made me think that way.
Yeah, I thought the same.
That's kind of, I don't know, the film is kind of timeless, I guess, in that sense.
Yeah.
That you don't know when exactly it takes place.
Del Toro's time period.
And honestly, knowing Del Toro, he does a lot of... That's actually something that he does a lot with period pieces and monster films. He kind of combines them together to create something, in a sense, timeless. He did that with Pan's Labyrinth, too. And I feel like a lot of elements and stuff that he learned from making Pan's Labyrinth kind of bled into this movie, too. Like I said when I was talking to Jay, I feel like you can see the passion in this movie, and the heart that he definitely put into making this film.
So, on that, the design in this movie is incredible.
Oh, the production design was fantastic. We were talking about that on the ride home.
The costume design, and design for the monster itself, or what is the appropriate term? Do we call it a monster, or is that not?
We'll call it a creature.
A creature.
Creature. That's kind of more. That's more politically correct. It is a him. We know. We know it's a him.
It's
he's got a shell. But
he's got a shell, and it opens and exposes
the fish wiener. I was talking to Jay though, and like I told Jay, I feel like every Oscar that this movie is nominated for, it definitely deserves to be nominated for. It's not one of those cases to where it's like, really, I mean, this film's being nominated for that. Like, seriously. It actually feels like this should be nominated for that.
And also, it's because this film, like you said, it feels timeless. It doesn't feel like something that has to be relevant now, even though it is occasionally.
Yeah.
But it seems like a film that I can watch 10 years down the line and still get real enjoyment out of.
Yeah, you know, it brings up issues that happened in the past and today, and in different ways throughout different characters, like with our main character played by Sally Hawkins, and with Michael Shannon, who is the complete foil to her.
And an incredible character.
He was an incredible performance that we're going to get into in a minute. But ultimately, I feel like every performance in this movie mattered. You know, and I just thought it was incredible. I really did. And the production design was great too. I forgot what we were talking about.
Production design was incredible.
It was,
And there are moments, because I actually thought going in that most of the movie would be in that one central lavatory. And it was at the beginning. A lot of it was that.
Because it had to be.
Yeah.
I mean, it needed to be. The sets in this movie were actually pretty great. Because,
and varied.
Yeah, because when you have something like the laboratory that this creature is being kept in, it's very dull and bleak. However, the film is very colorful. Like I said, dark movies can be colorful. They don't just have to be dark and gritty the entire time.
And they use the blue and the green color palettes, and they actually take that into the themes of the movie. The water, too, transcends just being something that represents love or whatever. There's a tangibility to it that's very important within the movie, and not just for the monster, but for every character. Water's important and necessary.
Yeah, it plays different parts for different characters in the movie, for sure. I don't really want to get into that, because I do feel like that goes into character development, which can kind of lead into spoiler territory. So what you do need to know is that the themes in this movie are very prominent, and they're done extremely well. It's nothing is forced down your throat in this movie. It's not like beating you over the head or into submission with a certain theme.
No.
The themes are spread throughout the entire film, and they really contribute to the overall quality of the film, for sure.
Yeah,
and I feel like that's what really makes it stand out.
It helps you swallow like a pill, because you take the water and you can swallow it very easily, and it spreads out like if I were to spill water, it would spread across the water.
That being said, let's talk about the performances in this movie, and I actually want to start off with Michael Shannon, because the real monster of the movie is Michael Shannon, and I will stand by that. He freaked me out throughout the entire movie.
And, you know, he was scary, but also he felt like a three-dimensional character.
And he felt real.
Yeah, because he wasn't just a villain for the sake of being a villain. He seemed like he had a motive. He had a backstory. He makes sense.
In a way, he was actually doing the right thing when you think about it. Or for what he was doing.
Yeah.
Well, in his mind, but also for his job.
Yeah.
And so it's like, to me, the best kind of villains are the ones that you can resonate with and understand where they're coming from. And that's perfectly demonstrated here. In fact, it's one of the most perfect examples of that I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
I think that he does things in this film that really made me cringe, and just I did not want to watch him do these things in this film. And he's that menacing throughout the entirety of this film, and he really freaked me out, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, he introduced some of the cringiest moments of this film, and in a good way. In a good way, this film was surprisingly violent at times, But it's never gratuitous. It always makes sense in the narrative.
Exactly. Yeah, I know a lot of people have been making memes out of the sexual content in this film. However, it's demonstrated really well here, and although it is kind of a meme by this point, it's done in a very tasteful way.
Yeah,
it's not done
jokes aside, it's very tasteful and it's very well directed. So
it really is.
You can see that there's an artistic intention first.
That being said, I thought this film was honestly incredible. I really loved almost every aspect of it. I feel like it drags a little bit, and like really just a little bit. And I'd give it an 8.5 out of 10 for that reason. Now that might vary. I might give it a 9 tomorrow whenever I wake up after thinking about it. But 8.5 is where I'm at right now. I really had a great time watching this movie. There's a lot of moments that you're going to be like, that's weird, but just roll with it because Del Toro knows exactly what he's doing. I thought this film was brilliant. I thought this film was lovely. And I thought this film was just overall fantastic. It's weird, but it's also incredible. And I think that nobody can deny that.
That nobody can.
So, Carson, what would you give this movie?
I'd give it a 9 out of 10, honestly.
Okay, that's fair.
For me, it resonated. It hit a lot of chords that I feel very important to see in film, especially smaller production films.
Exactly.
The costume design was incredible, right? So the special effects, when used, were actually very good and very well done.
It was a really practical movie, even though it has a CG kind of main lead in the film. So
the main lead itself, the costume and the practical effects they did for him were very convincing. I never for a moment thought I was looking at a CGI animal. If they did use very minimal CGI
for the creature,
for what it seemed like. The acting.
I feel like I've seen set photos where it was a practical thing, right? So she had something to interact with, which I feel like kind of derives where some of the emotion comes from in this movie.
The acting across the board was great. The narrative was surprisingly complex. I thought that would be a weaker part of the film, but it wasn't at all.
I feel like the movie made the right splash.
You might be diving into the deep one on that.
Gosh,
deep
take
end.
it, Carson.
Deep end.
Take it. I thought I had a good pun.
Now I'm in too deep. I'm in too deep. I'm drowning in these puns.
It's a good tale.
I'm drowning.
Shark tale. Anywho, that being said, on Frame by Frame, remember the name. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Go see The Shape of Water. You're going to love it. I can almost guarantee it. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys. The hand gestures, they come naturally.